Fake Baseball podcast is now brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's games for a chance to win big. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry, and you can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. I love the Underdog platform because their pick'em games are so much fun. Tonight, for example, they have Yordan Alvarez at higher or lower than 8.5 fantasy points. I'm smashing that higher than 8.5 fantasy points for Yordan Alvarez. I think he has a big game. It is so fun and so easy. Sign up today with promo code FAKEBASEBALL and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Thursday episode. As you can see, if you are in the live, we are now partnered with Underdog Fantasy. And unlike our previous sponsorships, this Underdog Fantasy partnership is locked in through the entire remainder of the MLB season. This is a crazy feeling. It is cool to finally be here. We have big things happening, big things on the way. I am Blake Meyer, as always, with my man Dylan Lydell. Dylan, how are you doing today, my dude?
I'm muted. We're good to go. I'm doing well, man. The sun's out. The sun's shining. It is the day before Friday. The day before the weekend. I'm ready to dive into this and talk some ball.
Yeah, dude, there's just something about Washington State, not to go on like a big weather tangent or anything, but if you've never been here, yes, everything you've heard about how much it rains is true. It rains here more than anybody would like to admit or believe. But when the sun is out here, this might be the most beautiful state of all 49. Hawaii's always more beautiful, but this might be the most beautiful state. It's so nice here when the sun's out, and the sun is shining today, even though I think it's going to rain again tomorrow. But it is awesome here. Again, make sure when you guys sign up at Underdog, use code FAKEBASEBALL. You get a 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. We do get a little kickback when you guys do that, so that does also go a long way towards helping us. But let's get into it. If you can't tell by the title, we are going to hop right into our top 5 trade targets in fantasy baseball right now. We spend a lot of time covering waiver wire. I'm doing some player analysis, things to help you guys be successful in that sense. But trading might be the most underrated, underappreciated, funnest aspect of fantasy sports. Never in real life are you ever going to be able to trade Bobby Witt Jr. to another team. Like, you can't just call up the Kansas City Royals and be like, I think it would be a lot cooler if he played for somebody else. You can't do that. But on your team, you have the freedom to trade whoever you want for whatever you want, whenever you want. And, you've got to maximize value too. So being good at trading is important, as well as the waiver wire. But being good at trading, maximizing the value on players when you can, all of that is key, comes into play, and you need to make sure that you're doing that. So we're going to give you our 5 favorite trade targets right now, guys, that me and Dylan are both targeting ourselves in our fantasy leagues. So without further ado, Dylan, who is your top trade target right now?
Leading it off, I got Vladdy Jr. still. I got all the confidence in the world in him still. I know many are kind of fading off of him, but that's all right. I'm not one of those guys. Still only 25 years old. And the Blue Jays in general, they're just a real tough team to figure out and gauge right now. Nobody really seems to be performing, at least their top guys. Vladdy's not having a great year. Bo either. A lot of their top shelf guys. But, there's a lot of red happening on a Savant page. The advanced metrics, I think, are checking out. I think he's been one of the guys that have been getting a little unlucky. He has been hitting more ground balls this year, which is concerning. Also, he's striking out just a tad more than we're used to seeing him do as well. Still getting his walks, 13%. That's, tough to beat that. Hard hit rate through the roof. Average exit velocity is still through the roof. I don't know. Like he could be just maybe what we're seeing Julio firsthand happen, just pressing too much, trying to do everything when it's not, all his job. Maybe just some guys got to catch up to just take some pressure off him. But I think Vladdy's fine. If you can get a bargain for him, go get Vladdy.
I agree because like I see both good and bad in Vladdy's profile this year, but the good is outweighing the bad. I mean, first and foremost, the thing with Vladdy is he's just not pulling fly balls. This year, right now, he has a 4.3% pulled fly ball rate. In 2023, he was up at 7.3%, and he was at 6.5% in 2022. I think league average pulled fly ball rate is just shy of 7%. So he was pretty considerably under league average there. But he has a 90th percentile EV. I've been big on that lately. He has a 90th percentile EV of 111.9 miles an hour, essentially 112 miles an hour. League average, and that is 104. So he is hitting the absolute cover off of the ball. And he's chasing not very many. I think it's like 25% chase rate, which is cool. You love to see that. That's one of his lowest chase rates in years. It's just a matter of can he get a little bit ahead of these pitches and start pulling some fly balls? If that happens, we'll see that Vladdy that hits 30 plus home runs. Yeah. And I think it's going to happen because he's like, again, that he's making such like hard contact that eventually it's going to happen. Eventually it's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's too good for it not to.
So what do we hit? He's hitting 230 right now. Past couple weeks, 260. Last 7 days, he's up to 280. So I think he could be on the up and up here soon, but wait and see. If you can get a bargain on him and somebody's just trying to dump him for some stupid reason, go take advantage of that dummy.
Yeah, his expected batting average is 43 points higher than his current batting average. His expected slugging is 112 points higher than his current slugging. Vladdy gonna be there. Vladdy gonna be all right.
I like the Seager call out too, Ted.
I love the Seager one as well. Seager was crazy last year, especially the end of the year. I mean, he was kind of crazy all year, but especially towards the end of the year and into the playoffs and all that. Corey Seager is a great one. My first guy that I have on the list, Mr. Austin Riley. I will say I did literally just trade for him in our home league. So his name was fresh in my mind. A lot of it is from, like he's only 27. He's very consistently a 30 plus home run, hit 270 or higher guy with a good chunk of doubles. Going to strike out less than 25% of the time. He's going to get on base at like a 340 clip. Like there's just a lot of good stuff there. This is just a slow start for him. He's hitting 235 on the year, although I will say I don't like seeing 235 with the 310 BABIP. A little shaky there, but scored 17 runs, driven in 16. He's already got 8 doubles and 2 triples. It should tell you something that 27 games in the year, Austin Riley has as many triples as home runs. It doesn't sound right. Like it's going to get better. He's still making great contact overall. He has these Fangraphs ads are wild. This takes up half my screen.
I can't even pull up Fangraphs while we're streaming anymore. It just completely shoots my computer.
Wild.
Yeah.
He has a 14% barrel rate, 50% hard hit rate. He's got an expected batting average 20 points higher than his current batting average. There's just so many good things to like about him right now. Swinging strike rate, 13%. Not great, but not terrible. And we always talk about we like an 80% zone contact rate or higher. He's at just shy of 85% on the zone contact. And he's actually chasing fewer pitches than he ever has in his career. Dylan, is Austin Riley somebody that not in our home league because I just traded for him and you're not going to get him from me, but let's say like a different league. Is Austin Riley somebody you would target right now? And do you think you can get a decent little discount on him?
Well, I had Austin Riley last year and I kind of remember the same type of deal. Oh, I could be wrong, but I thought Austin Riley kind of got off to a slower start last year too. I don't know if it was this slow of a start. He tracked.
Let me check.
Yeah, he tracked at 37 home runs last year.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, dude's gonna be hitting 3 or 4 for the Braves every day, playing third base. If you want that guy on your team, you know, because the Atlanta's one of the best teams in the league. Austin Riley's a big part of that. Granted, he's not showing up right now. There's a lot of games to be played, a lot of season left. So same thing with Vladdy, like all these guys are going to be talking about. If you can get them for the right price, absolutely. And Austin Riley also falls into that category for me.
That's a good call out about last year because through the exact same amount of games, his first 27 games last year, Austin Riley hit 253, so like 20 points higher. But he only had 9 extra base hits. Right now, he's got 12. 17 runs scored, 15 RBI last year. He's at 16 and 17 right now.
Right. It wasn't this slow, but
year.
it was still a little shaky.
And to be honest, I might almost take, I guess it's league dependent. Like, let's say points league. We talk about points leagues here a lot. I like that he has 12 extra base hits this year compared to 9. It's a little bit, it's not a massive difference, but it's enough of a difference for me that I actually kind of like that a little more, even with a little less batting average. Like, this might just be who Austin Riley is. Because then last year, May he hit 271, June 287, July 287, 289 in August, 301 the end of the year.
A roll.
And that's the type of thing that Austin Riley is going to do. He is starting to heat up right now a little bit. I know he just had that 2 RBI triple against the Mariners the other day. So things like that will start to have his value trend up. So if you're going to trade for an Austin Riley and you want to get like a true discount, now we're approaching the last chance for that to happen. And also, you guys need to keep in mind, when we say a discount, you're not going to trade Joe Schmo for Austin Riley right now just because he's only got 2 home runs. You're still going to have to give up a decent amount to get somebody like an Austin Riley. But we're saying right now, the amount you would have to give up to get a player like Austin Riley is considerably less than you will likely have to give up a month from now in terms of Austin Riley. So if he's on your radar, now's that time, baby. Get in there, get you some Austin Riley. Dylan, back to you. Who is your second person on your list?
This one's tough. This one is tough. And same team, and I brought him up earlier, is Vlad. Bo Bichette. And I kind of have some hesitation behind it. I mean, nothing he's been doing this year, I don't know, really jumps off the page to me at least. I don't know, like kind of where he's been, like the percentages, zone contacts and all that. I mean, zone contacts at 90, which is really good. He's not striking out, only 15%. Like, honestly, I'm just going off track record with Bo at this point. Like 205, only 1 home run. Let's see how many RBIs. Can't find him right now. Oh well. But pulling it up. 11 RBIs. 11 RBIs. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going strictly off track record with Bo. I got him in one league, and he's really been disappointed because he was a highly, regarded guy coming into this year. A lot of high hopes, and he has not lived up to it so far. I think, it would be tough for me to bite the bullet just because I did grab him so early in that league. But if somebody is willing to part ways with them, I mean, I don't know how far I would be willing to go for Bo right now. But if it's low enough, I'll take the flyer on him just because he's been one of the best hitters over the past few years.
I like that you said going based off track record because I do think that applies with certain people and in certain situations. Like if Bo was somebody that had one thing that wasn't going right for him, or like maybe let's just say even 2 things that weren't going right for him, and he was struggling, you could talk yourself into saying like, well, like maybe it's a legitimately different swing and it's actually something that's going to be cause for concern for a while. But the thing is with Bo, like there is it's a bunch of negatives adding up to a positive. There's so many different things that seem to be going wrong for Bo that you start to get to the point where it's like, okay, he's not this bad. Like there's so many bad things happening at once that only good things can happen from here on. And I mean, that's a prime example of being able to maximize value for players. Right. You're never going to buy Bo Bichette for cheaper right now in a fantasy baseball league. You're never going to have to give up less to get Bo Bichette than you would right now.
Right.
I guarantee there's plenty of managers out there that have panic dropped him. As much as it sounds dumb to kind of panic drop Bo Bichette right now, I guarantee you guys play in a league where Bo Bichette has been dropped. I was going to say you play in at least one league, but if you guys play in only one fantasy baseball league, maybe it didn't happen. But just in general, it's very likely that you played somewhere or you're playing somewhere where somebody like a Bo Bichette was dropped, even though he shouldn't have been. Last year,
Lindor's a good guy to slip in here too. Sorry about that, but yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Just totally popped in mind.
Lindor's making a comeback. He's been playing his ass off lately.
Yeah.
He had 2 doubles today, 2 doubles, 4 RBI today. It was a good game for him. I bought low on Lindor like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it was rough at first when I got him. I thought I bought him at the right moment, and he had a rough 2 weeks, and I was like, good Lord, I should not have done that. But picking it up now. Yeah, Bo Bichette, still a good one. He's still making good contact. The quality of contact's not there, but it's more concerning when a guy loses the ability to hit the ball rather than make good contact. Because if he's at least still getting the bat on the ball, like you said, a 90% or higher zone contact rate, the quality of contact will come. The next one that I have on my list, which one do I want to go with? Where are we going?
Let me know.
First, where we're going to go is, we're also brought to you by the Fake Baseball Patreon. If you guys like what you hear, please hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you are watching on Twitter, where there is a bunch of you right now, please hit that follow button. We go live twice a week with these episodes. We also have bonus episodes up on our Patreon every Wednesday. It is patreon.com/thefakebaseballpodcast. It's only $5 a month. It's cheaper than the cup of coffee that you bought yourself on the way to work this morning. And you get the entire month's worth of bonus content. Yesterday, we did an early look at week 7 waiver wire targets. I do the weekly waiver wire article for Fantasy Pros every Saturday evening. It comes out every Sunday morning, and we gave you guys an early look at some names that will be on that list and some of Dylan's favorite names for next week as well. So again, patreon.com/fakebaseballpodcast. Go check that out. And also Underdog Fantasy. Use code FakeBaseball. 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. I think the first person I'm going to go with from my list, I have 2 guys left. First one for me is going to be Justin Steele. Justin Steele is somebody I was big on last year, and he ended up having a great season and a great fantasy season as well. Only a 1.87% or 1.87 walks per 9 last year. I almost flubbed that. He went 16-5 in 173 innings. He was on track to do the same this year. Injury got him in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Only 4.2 innings so far. But I mean, it was an effective 4.2 innings. He struck out 6, walked 1, only gave up 1 run and 3 hits. So it looked good. And he's actually on track. I think he's rehabbing right now, or he's going to rehab. Going to a rehab assignment. He's not going to rehab.
A little snippet here that everything went well during Steele's rehab start with AAA Iowa. There
we go. That's what I like to see. So for me, when I am targeting guys to trade for, one of my favorite groups of players to trade for are guys that have been injured for a few weeks, that have some little sliver of hope that they'll be back soon, like some little nugget of info that gives you an idea that they may be back soon. I know me and Dylan had talked about maybe Walker Buehler before this. He almost made the list, but I'm iffy with Walker Buehler just because he's already been named the starter for Monday. So like he's already coming back, which means that value is already trending back up. Justin Steele doesn't have a date to come back yet. So whoever rostered him, like this guy right here, likely could be a little down on the fact that he hasn't contributed anything to his team for the entirety of the year, which would bring down his value. Justin Steele is a great pitcher. The Cubs are a great team. He's going to have a very similar year to what he had last year. 176 strikeouts and 173 innings. He went 16-5. We love a good K- walker around here. Last year he had a 19.6 K- walker. Remember, anything 17% or higher in a K- walk rate is something that you should be looking for. Anything 20% or higher is, I don't want to say elite, but that's like very, very good. You get above that, you're crushing it. So 19.6%, Justin Steele was the man last year. I'm not going to use this 27.8% one right now because 4 innings, we ain't going to count that. But yeah, if you're targeting a pitcher, and you want to find a pitcher's name on this list that you could maybe take a crack at, Justin Steele is the answer for that. He's likely maybe a week or two away. So again, this is the cheapest that you're going to be getting Justin Steele for your team. Just hope the manager in your league that rosters him is maybe struggling a little bit, maybe a little frustrated with the fact that he's just been chilling on the IL, or maybe his IL is already full of other guys and they just want to get rid of him. All of those things are possible. So Justin Steele, add him to the list, baby. And then the last guy that we have, somebody that I rostered a lot, is Josh Lowe for the Tampa Bay Rays. The dude was already supposed to be back. He started out the year on the IL. He was supposed to come back, and I think when he was supposed to come back, it was an oblique. He had a freaking hamstring flare up, and so they put him on the shelf for a little bit longer. It just came out that he's going to resume his rehab assignment. That came out yesterday. Last year he went, 20 home runs, 32 stolen bases, one of those Rays guys that came out of nowhere. But unlike Luke Raley, who we shit on all the time, sorry for cussing, Josh Lowe showed that he was good the entirety of the season. He wasn't a flash in the pan at the beginning that kind of fizzled out the more the year went on. Josh Lowe was great, and he is the kind of player that you should be adding in all league types. And I guarantee you, as a Josh Lowe owner myself, whoever rosters Josh Lowe in your league right now is irritated as hell by the fact that he hasn't played. I know there's been this big thing going on Twitter between analysts the last couple of days, ever since the Mike Trout injury, about should you be celebrating injuries or that type of thing. I'm not getting into all that, but I'm just saying I'm irritated at the fact that this man ain't played no baseball games yet this year, strictly from a fantasy perspective, especially in my Tout Wars team where I really need his ass to come back and help me out. I'm playing Ariel Cohen this week, who, if you guys are unaware, Ariel Cohen is my favorite person in the fantasy baseball industry. I got to meet him at Tout Wars, which is amazing. And that is who I'm playing this week. So I would really like to beat him. And Josh Lowe is not here to help me with that. But yeah, Josh Lowe, target the man. He had an 11% barrel rate last year, just shy of a 40% hard hit rate. He hit 292. You can't overstate a 292 batting average. He did a really good job of line drives and fly balls. That's what we'd love to see. We hate a ground ball rate, like a high ground ball rate. Dylan, is Josh Lowe somebody that you are looking to make a move for right now in some fantasy leagues?
Probably not as big of a rush, just because I think for some reason outfielders seems a bit more steep this year on waivers. At least I've been noticing just across the board, outfielders just seem to just keep on go. So I don't know if I'm in as big a rush to go and get Josh Lowe per se. I don't know. I've never really paid too close attention to Josh Lowe. He is a Tampa Bay Ray, so he's probably a real sneaky player I haven't paid close enough attention to that I probably should be. But yeah, I don't know. So just like I've really loaded up on outfielders on my teams this year. So I don't see it as big of a pressing need. Like corners, there's been a lot of disappointments there this year. So if you can get like a big name like an Austin Riley or a Vlad, who we've talked about, Ted brought up Seager, I think I would rather push my chips that direction rather than an outfielder. Even if that name's like Corbin Carroll, like I think I would rather still push my chips in for like those corner infielders or middle infielders.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And also, you mentioned Corbin Carroll. So we did our top 5 names for
we've said like 10 at this point. It's all good.
We have. I actually have legitimate worries about Corbin Carroll for the rest of the year. I had initially thought about putting him on this list, but I think I might have him on the opposite list.
Get him out of your coach list.
Yeah, I think at this point, like Frank Amarante, I think that's how you say his last name. I met him at Tout Wars. Frank, sorry if I said your last name wrong. I already said Kevin instead of Kev on the last episode for our last guy. I will never let
You're on a roll, man.
Down. I'm killing it right now. He pointed out that Corbin Carroll might be on the sell him while you can list, the sell low list, which typically you don't ever want to do. But that shoulder for Corbin Carroll is a legitimate problem that doesn't actually look like it's getting any better at all. Like,
So
it happened last August, I think it's when it
did
happened.
he get surgery? I can't remember.
No
And
surgery.
so Tatis, he had a couple years back, he kind of had like a labrum thing after a swing, right? He ended up getting surgery and bounced back just fine. Hope to see Corbin go through something like that, because there's just no way you can, have any high hopes for him right now. Just he's hitting 7, 8, 9 in the D-backs lineup where he should be hitting 1, 2. We're just not going to see that guy this year if that shoulder's really just that messed up.
Yep. Coming into this year, I think we talked about it. We thought that his shoulder, could be okay coming into this year. And if it was okay, he was a freaking 30-60 candidate coming into this year. But with no shoulder, like, he got a bad shoulder. I might hit as many home runs as Corbin Carroll this year, and I'm podcasting in my bedroom in a freaking video game chair with Funko Pops on the wall behind me. So I hate to say it because I did get multiple shares of him this year. I think when it comes to like a Corbin Carroll, you might need to find a suitable trade partner for him. Find somebody that wants to buy low on him. And I don't want to say take what you can get, but kind of, maybe take what you can get. Dylan, I'm going to throw a couple more names at you.
Yeah.
Ted in the chat said Tyler Black can steal 30 bases with first and third eligibility. True. If you guys want to hear our take on Tyler Black, check out the episode over at patreon.com/thefakebaseballpodcast. We actually talked about Tyler Black as an excellent waiver wire pickup right now and for week 7. You're not going to find a corner infielder that steals anywhere near as many bases as Tyler Black is about to steal for the remainder of the year, as long as he stays up, which I think he will. Very good hitter. So one name that I would like to point out, I did talk about him on Sleeper in the Bust this last weekend with Justin Mason and Jason Collette, but that would be Vaughn Grissom. It looks like he is about to make his debut. He's not a trade target. We're going to sneak in a couple extra names because we like to give you guys 35 minutes of our time. Vaughn Grissom, it looks like he is healthy and he is going to travel and join the Boston Red Sox this weekend. He's going to be the second baseman for the Red Sox. Like, it's not going to be nobody else. It's going to be Vaughn Grissom from now till the end of the year, health permitting. Are you excited about the fantasy implications of him taking over at second base for Boston? And if so, are you going to be looking to add him this weekend in indie leagues?
Boston's been a sneaky team, man. They've played some good ball. They got Tyler O'Neill back. They've been hovering right under the Yankees, under first place as far as I know. I haven't kept too close of tabs to the East, but I know they've been playing 500 baseball. They've been staying afloat, playing. And he could provide a spark. He's probably on waivers in most places, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check. Giloff just hit the IL. That kind of hurts my heart a little bit. I got a couple places with him just rotting on my bench. If you're in a spot like that to where you just want a guy now, or like I still have Tommy Edman on an IL spot for some reason, like, sure, go for it. If you want a guy that's playing right now, I'm down.
Yeah, I like him, especially in a points league. He has roto relevance. We are 2 years removed from his 5 home run, 5 stolen base, 41 game stretch that he had for Atlanta. We hit 291, which was awesome. I had him rostered on my team then, and I loved every second of it. No home runs last year in 23 games, but he still did have 4 extra base hits. He is a doubles hitter with enough speed to make things interesting. We like to say that around here. He got enough speed to make things interesting. Yeah. And
you're a doubles guy. Benway's the park.
Absolutely. And in 64 games, he's hitting 287 with just shy of a 340 OBP. That plays. And he's going to probably be hitting in a decent spot in the maybe they bat him 8th to start out. 8th, maybe 9th. But that's okay. Like, he's going to be good enough when he's up to bat to keep things interesting. He's not going to hit for a ton of power. He's probably not going to get to double-digit home runs this year, but he could hit 30 doubles and 5 triples for the remainder of the year, and he could steal 15 bases while hitting. He really could flirt with 300. It's probably closer to like a 280 hitter, but that's fine. 81% contact rate. Where was it at? Yeah, 81% contact rate, 92.8% zone contact rate last year, 91% zone contact rate for his short career. You love to see stuff like that. So Von Grissom is somebody that you guys need to be targeting in these leagues.
Yeah, I like that.
And one more guy that is a trade target of mine is Andy Pages. I feel like there's some not weird. There's some interesting little way to say his last name that I'm not getting, but Andy Pages for the Dodgers. I don't think he was a top prospect, but
you've been on a roll mispronouncing names. It's probably not that.
Yeah, with my track record, I guarantee it's not that. But he's making a legitimate impact with the Dodgers. He is still available in a lot of leagues. Like he's only 13% rostered on ESPN right now. So if he's on the waiver wire, pick him up. If he's on somebody else's roster, trade for him and add him to your team because he looks to be here for the long haul. He hasn't walked yet, which sucks. But he's hitting 291 with 3 ding-dongs, 10 RBI, scored 12 times. He's also got 5 doubles. If you've watched the Dodgers play at all since he's been called up, he's an impact bat. He's coming up with big hits and big moments, which is the type of thing that you like to see a rookie be able to do this early on. He has always had pop in the minors. And he hits just as well against lefties as he does against righties. Maybe a little less pop against lefties, but that's okay. We can live with that. Cal Raleigh's the same way. Cal Raleigh kills righties. Not as much power against lefties, but we still love to watch him play. But right now, Pages with men on base is hitting 276 with 2 home runs and 9 ribbies. The dude is coming up big for I almost said for Boston, for the Dodgers. Great target to add, especially in deep outfield leagues. And I would like to throw out Ted in the chat said Luis Robert cheap. I am in on Luis Robert, and I was going to add Luis Robert to this list. I only didn't because I like to have at least some kind of idea of when they'll come back. If you're in first place right now in your league, maybe first, second place, you're having like a really good year and you've got an expendable roster, you can make a move for Luis Robert right now. I'm fully in on that. I think that's a good play because then you can have him for depth for when he does come back. But it may still be a couple weeks before he does come back. Just keep that in mind.
I really thought he was going to be out or was out longer.
It's supposed to be 8 to 10 weeks, but I guess he's progressing through his rehab pretty well, which is good to see because I was actually watching the game. I don't know why the hell I was watching a White Sox game, but I was watching the game when it happened and he rounded first base, and I haven't seen many people come up that limp that quick. So that's what she said. But
mid-May there.
And the crazy thing is we're almost to mid-May right now. I mean, I guess it just started to be May, but mid-May is not that far away.
A couple weeks.
And so that is our list of trade targets for you guys. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/theFakeBaseballPodcast. And next week, I double booked guests on accident. So instead of one guest episode and one episode with the two of us, we got 2 guest episodes. So be prepared for that. On Tuesday, I got to lock it down for sure. Like, it's a for sure. I just have to tell him, like, okay, that the time works. But we're going to be recording a little earlier on Tuesday. It is going to be 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday with Frank Stample from CBS Sports and the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast. Frank Stample is going to be joining us. And then on Thursday, my friend Mike Kurland, formerly of The Athletic, now from MLBPlayingTime.com, will be joining us to talk baseball as well. If you have never heard Mike on a podcast, the dude has so much information. It is absolutely insane. So you're not going to want to miss either of those episodes. So if you want to make sure you don't miss those, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, hit the like button, and turn the notifications on so that you will make sure you get notified on all of those. I have been doing a great job of pre-posting the streams so that you guys get a notification earlier in the day that reminds you that we will be going live on the different platforms. And if you were just listening on the podcast feed, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else you listen to podcasts, just hit the follow button and it'll in the auto download and you'll automatically get the new episodes the day and the minute that they come out. So make sure you guys do that. And again, we are partnered with Underdog Fantasy. We're very grateful for that So make sure you go check out Underdog Fantasy and use code FAKEBASEBALL when you sign up. You get a 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. That is the real deal. You put $100 in at Underdog Fantasy when you sign up, you get an extra $100. So your 100 becomes $200. Your $50 becomes $100. Your 75 becomes $150. That is a deal and a half. You can play those cool higher lower games, which are amazing. Again, Yordan Alvarez over the other guys. I think he's going to have a great game today. I almost flubbed that one big time. You guys don't know that, but higher for Yordan Alvarez today, higher than 8.5. I'm going to have to get used to this, but you guys that are still here listening to me ramble are awesome. The weekend is coming up. Next week, we got a great lineup of shows. And until next time, you guys, later.